In 1928, within the grim walls of Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary, a prisoner scrawled his life's horrors on scraps of paper. His words weren't a plea for mercy, but a brutal testament to a life of hate. Welcome to Buried Secrets, where we unearth the truths others dare not touch. Today we delve into the chilling saga of Karl Panzram, a man whose crimes, murders, assaults, and betrayals spanned continents. His handwritten confession, born in a cell, reveals a mind unrepentant, driven by rage against the world. Grab a seat, hit subscribe, and let's descend into the darkness. Panzram wasn't just a criminal, he was a force of destruction, claiming 21 lives and countless victims. His story challenges what we believe about evil, from stealing a president's pistol to burning an oil refinery. We start with a boy in rural Minnesota, where it all began. Karl Panzram entered the world in 1891 on a struggling Minnesota farm. Born to Prussian immigrants, he grew up in hardship, one of 6 siblings scraping by. His father abandoned the family when Karl was young, leaving his overworked mother to raise them alone. By age 7, Karl was already a troublemaker. Petty thefts, fights, sneaking into neighbors' homes. He found solace in alcohol, drinking by 11. School offered no refuge. Teachers saw him as defiant, a problem to be fixed. In 1902, authorities sent him to the Minnesota State Training School, a reform institution meant to correct incorrigible boys. Instead, it broke him. The reform school was a house of horrors. Panzram later wrote of relentless beatings with salt-soaked straps, confinement in dank basements, and cruelty masked as discipline. He described it as a place that taught him to lie, hate, and hurt. The experience snuffed out any trust in humanity, planting seeds of rage. At 14, he fled, hopping freight trains and living as a drifter. What drove a child to such rebellion? Was the system already failing him? Share your thoughts below. Panzram was a nomad by his teens, riding rails across the Midwest, stealing to eat and fight. Unlike most vagrants, he didn't steal for survival. He relished the act. Breaking into homes gave him a thrill, a way to strike back at a world he despised. He used aliases, slipping through towns like a ghost. Arrests piled up, but so did escapes, prying open cell bars or outwitting guards. His boldness grew with each getaway, his crimes escalating from theft to violence. In his early 20s, Panzram pulled off an audacious heist, burglarizing the Ohio home of former President William Howard Taft. He stole cash, jewelry, and a .45 caliber pistol, later using the loot to buy a yacht. This wasn't a pleasure craft, it was a floating trap. Panzram lured men aboard with promises of work or shelter, only for them to vanish. He confessed to killing several, tying weights to their bodies and dumping them in the Atlantic. One victim, a young sailor in 1920, was offered a job, fed, and never seen again. Why target the vulnerable? Did he see them as symbols of a hated society? Comment below. Panzram's crimes weren't confined to America. In the 1920s, he roamed Mexico, Europe, Africa, and beyond, always under false names. In each country, the pattern held: theft, assault, murder, then flight. He claimed crimes in a dozen nations, from robbing London shops to killing in Angola. Verification is spotty. Local records often ignore foreign drifters. But his detailed accounts, naming specific ports and dates, lend credibility. In Angola, he worked as a labor overseer, hiring 6 locals for a job, then shooting them in the bush to see if I could get away with it. He did. His violence wasn't just physical. Panzram admitted to hundreds of sexual assaults, mostly against men, using them as tools of power and terror. He saw no distinction between rape and murder. Both fed his need for control. In 1923, he torched a New Jersey oil refinery, enraged by its symbol of wealth. No one suspected him. Insurers blamed faulty wiring. How did he evade capture so long? Was his global reach a sign of cunning or systemic failure? Drop your thoughts. In 1928, a burglary in Washington, D.C. finally caught Panzram. Identified after years of aliases, he was sentenced to 25 years at Leavenworth. This time, escape seemed impossible or unwanted. At 37, he was tired, his rage simmering but directionless. A young guard, Henry Lesser, offered a rare kindness, pencil and paper. Panzram took them, not for redemption, but to unburden his truth. Over weeks, he filled pages with a chilling memoir, detailing 21 murders, countless assaults, and a life of defiance. His writing was raw, articulate, and unapologetic. "I hate the whole damn human race," he declared, rejecting God, devil, and morality. He described his crimes as deliberate, not mistakes, driven by a need to dominate. The manuscript wasn't for pity, it was a middle finger to the world. He wrote about the cruelty of reform schools and how they turned a boy into a beast. "I was treated like an animal, and I became one," he said. Was he justifying his path or exposing a broken system? Share your view. In Leavenworth, Panzram's violence didn't stop. In 1929, a dispute with a prison worker turned deadly. He killed the man with an iron bar. Charged with murder, he faced the gallows. Offered an appeal, he refused. "I'd rather die than live like this," he told the court. On September 5th, 1930, at 39, he was hanged. His last moments were pure Panzram, defiant, venomous. When the chaplain urged repentance, he spat in his face. To the hangman, he snarled, "Hurry it up, you Hoosier scum! I could kill 10 men while you're fooling around." The trapdoor dropped, and he was gone. His manuscript, smuggled out by Lesser, lay dormant for decades. Published in 1970 as Killer, a journal of murder, it's now a criminology cornerstone, offering an unfiltered look at a nihilist's mind. Panzram claimed 21 murders, some suspect more. He kept no trophies, hid no bodies, cared little for capture. "For all these things, I am not in the least bit sorry," he wrote. What made him so cold? Could anyone have stopped him? Comment below. Panzram's story isn't just about crime, it's about failure. Born a farm boy who loved dogs, he was shaped by cruelty. An absent father, a harsh mother, a reform school that beat him raw. He learned trust was weakness, kindness a trap. The 1920s, with its jazz and gangsters, masked his shadow, a predator driven not by fame but destruction. His confession forces us to ask, was he evil or a product of broken systems? Reform schools of his era were notorious for abuse, often creating worse monsters than they caged. Today's juvenile justice system still grapples with similar flaws. Criminologists debate Panzram's psyche, antisocial personality disorder, perhaps psychopathy. He rejected such labels, blaming society's hypocrisy. His self-awareness chills. He knew what he was, chose it, and embraced it. Unlike most killers, he had no allies, no gang, no trust. His only bond was with Lesser, and even that was transactional. Why did he write? To taunt us or to warn us? Drop your thoughts. Carl Panzram's life was a storm, raging against a world he loathed. From a Minnesota farm to a hangman's noose, he left scars across continents, 21 lives snuffed, countless others shattered. His manuscript, A Killer's Gospel, dares us to look at what creates such men. Is evil born or built? Do we still fail kids like Carl? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for more buried secrets. Next, we'll uncover another truth too dark to stay buried. Until then, keep questioning the shadows.